Oh, hi there. I didn't see you. It's me, Vince, the host of Atomic Radio Hour, the post-nuclear podcast. How are you? Welcome to episode 343. I'm not gonna lie to you, I thought about making this somehow Halo-themed. I didn't. Obviously, is a Fallout show, but Halo is a very big part of my childhood. Anyway, welcome to the show. Before we get into anything, I want to give a quick shout out to the Ghoulman Entertainment Patreon. If you like the show in any capacity, check out the Patreon, link in the description below. We're going to talk about them a little bit later, but I do have to thank Willy DuWitt. Thank you for being here tonight. He is part of the live studio audience tier on the Patreon, where you can listen to these episodes get recorded live just about every Wednesday at about 8:35 Mountain Standard Time. I don't think the microphone is currently picking it up. It's a pleasure to be here. It's a pleasure for you to be here, sir. Thank you. I love you. If you can hear that in the background, currently my apartment complex does not give a f*** about its residents. What a surprise. The landlord not giving a f*** about the residents? Anyway, and there's just something wrong, really wrong, with, I assume, either the heat or the plumbing. And every, 3 to 6 minutes, it just goes... and this crunchy crunch noise. But anyway, if you can hear that, I do apologize. I tried to call the line, because it's not a person that you speak to. It's a group of people in a call center that probably live in fucking Tacoma, Washington, or some other place that I'm currently not in. And you call them, but the number doesn't work. You can call the number and it's for this, press 1. For this, press 2. For this, press 3. And I hit all 3 numbers and then nothing happened. It didn't push me to any other thing. I called one of the numbers that I have on my phone that's a person who's a representative of the leasing department, I guess. They don't answer. I left 2 voicemails. They don't do anything. It's, it's hard out here for a pimp. Willy DuWitt says in chat, they want you to use the proper channels because they are certain that the proper channels do not work. Real shit. Welcome to the show, everybody. You know what? I'm gonna say it. This is a show that focuses heavily on nostalgia. We heavily focus on nostalgia around these parts. And Kyle, who's my source of news on pretty much everything pop culture... You know that episode of King of the Hill where Bobby Hill's on the debate team because of his pop culture knowledge? I think Kyle could be that for me. There's a surprising amount of things that Kyle knows about that. If Kyle knew a lot about the Green Lantern, I'd be really surprised, and also not surprised, whatsoever. Anyway, Kyle sent me this on Twitter, and again, my link, Kyle's link, the Twitter link for the show is in the description below, but I don't know where I'm at on it. I don't know if I'm going to keep using it. I use it for news and memes because Elon, and I just like seeing him getting lambasted on his own site. But this is from Culture Crave, at Culture Crave on Twitter. GameInformer is officially back. 100% of the original team has returned, now operating as an editorial independent outlet. Physical and digital magazines are coming back. Thank God. This might be a magazine. Come on. There we go. This might be a magazine that I subscribe to as an adult. Not saying that I'm an adult and I'm reading Game Informer. What I've learned from recently going to the comic book shop is there's always at the counter free books. That's just interviews with artists and storytellers and people who talk about the comic industry and just general pop culture shit that I'm interested in. And I like keeping them on my coffee table at my house because there's just something to look at when people come over. I have 2 coffee table books that I got from Japan. One is called the Ginza House Mook. Ginza like the city, house like the thing that is impossible to afford, and mook like an amalgamation of the word magazine and book being M-O-O-K. And it's one of my favorite books, magazines, whatever, that I've ever bought ever, because it is just, I don't read any of it, and I haven't tried to translate it with my phone, but it's an account of a bunch of sneakers that people are wearing in Tokyo when I bought the book. So it was contemporary to what the youth, what was cool when it came to sneakers. So there's stuff like New Balances, of course, and Nike and Adidas, sure. But then there's stuff that I've like never seen before. There's stuff that in America, if you wear, is considered whack, or like that nerdy shit. Like, you know, dudes out there trying to get some are not like wearing Ons or Mizunos, really. Like, they got some cool designs and what have you, but they're not, you know, it's not in demand. But in Japan, it is, because they live in walkable cities. So you kind of need a comfortable shoe and a stylish one. I'm getting away from the point. The point is Game Informer is back. And if it's an independent news outlet, which I'm assuming means it is not tied to GameStop in any which way, great. Hopefully they could be a little harsher on the gaming industry. Mind you, the last time I read a Game Informer, I was still in probably high school. But it's nice to see that there is another outlet that's there that I can have. And if I can get them sent to my house monthly, I'm really thinking about doing it. Magazines are a thing that don't exist anymore. Doesn't exist anymore. I know what the proper grammar on that one is, but it's not a thing that you are readily available. There's local mags, local zines, if you will, depending on the city you live in or live nearest to, but that's one of those things that magazines are a thing that don't really exist anymore. It doesn't really exist anymore. It's a thing that I remember, like, you'd go to the dentist office and just read all the highlights magazines from 4 years ago. It's something that I'm very curious to know how much of this generation currently is reading. I try to recommend books to my brother. I try to recommend certain things to him, especially comics, because I have a way to get comics for him. I asked him if there was any heroes he wanted to read about or any stories he wanted to read about, and I would just pull them for him, and then I'll see him 2-3 times a year. I could show up with 6-7 comics and go, here you go. Here's the latest run of Nightwing, because as a kid, he liked Nightwing a lot. He liked Teen Titans a lot too. Like, hey man, here's Teen Titans, here's this, here's that. You have these things, and I can get these. Here's this thing that I could give him, and it's not teaching him how to read. He's almost an adult. He knows how to read. But it's one of those where it's like, you can read a fiction that you enjoy. You can get invested in these characters. You can find something. I might bring back a couple of Batman comics from, honestly. I might just bring back a run for him and be like, here, check this out. This is Batman. It's great. Probably not Absolute Batman, because I want those. But regular Batman, I'll probably bring to him. Anyway, whatever. I'll see how he feels about it. But I'm always trying to see how much the youth are reading, and if this is a contemporary piece of work, Game Informer, that is about something that people are interested in, especially if they're talking about modern day gaming. Especially if they do, I mean, I hope the first issue they do is kind of a nostalgic take on what Game Informer once was, what Game Informer is, and what Game Informer will hopefully be. I hope this isn't one of those things that lasts for like 2 years and then goes away again forever, because if that goes away then it's gone forever. And Game Informer is just such a big part of my life, man, and I'm just so happy to see it return back again, hopefully for a good long while. So I'd like to get into this week's lore, but before I can get into this week's lore, there are some people that I have to thank. And this week, we're actually going to do something for the next few weeks. We're going to try something out with the lore that we've done before, but we're going to rehash it. So we're going to see how we feel. The people, the names, what side I'm on? I think this is the side I like. There's some names on screen currently that I have to thank. These are the people that support the show, that like the show, that see something in the show and wants to see it get bigger and better. And because of these names, like I said, the show has continued. So I have to thank them. And starting from the top, I have to thank the OG Noah. Thank you, Noah. After Noah, I have to thank Willy DuWitt. Thank you to Willy DuWitt, who's here tonight. Thanks for being here, Willy DuWitt. And you could be here too. Check out the Patreon. We got a whole thing, the Film Live 4 studio audience tier. If you like the show, you could be here. Anyway, Willy DuWitt, thank you. After Willy DuWitt, I have to thank Mellow Milhouse. Thank you to Mellow Milhouse. After Mellow Milhouse, I have to thank Captain Leonox. Thank you to Captain Leonox. After Captain Leonox, I have to thank DanishHoundDog. Thank you to DanishHoundDog. After DanishHoundDog, I have to thank Brotherhood Outcast, the last person on our list. Definitely not the least person on our list, but Brotherhood Outcast, thank you to you, sir and or madam. I appreciate you. I love you guys. Like I said, the show continues because of your valiant efforts. Wish I could speak. Anyway, enjoy the rest of the program. Thank you. I love you. So for this week's lore, we're going to start doing something different around these parts. I've been doing this show for a long while. We've been uploading lore for a long while. There's a lot of lore that is done completely differently from the way we do it now. So now what I like to do is I'm behind the green screen. There's some gameplay behind me that is usually pertinent to what we are doing. And, you know, maybe there's some other gameplay throughout the episode that isn't super pertinent to what's going on, but it's of a Fallout game. So it's, you know, I'm really trying to pander to the TikTok generation. So there's more things going on screen for you to follow. And it used to be me and a static image. And that was it. And I also feel like I've gotten better at presenting and talking about the thing that I love, because, you know, you have to build a confidence in yourself when you're on camera. For a lot of people, it's kind of weird to be on camera. I want to go back and do a lot of the lore. So for the next few weeks, for a good while, if I run out of ideas or if there's nothing special that I can think of that I want to do, we're going to go back and I'm going to go through the old lore, and hopefully, if it doesn't take me months at a time, I'll start uploading the old lore to replace the old one. And I might even change the title of the old one that says old, check description, and then like it'll be a link to the new version of the lore, which I feel like will be a better version of it. There's some things on there, like for Ishmael Asher, the dude who voiced Asher, commented on the video, and that's one that like I want to keep for me, so I don't want to get rid of the video or anything. I asked him if he wanted to come on the show, never got back to me. But this week I went to the Patreon like I always do to ask a poll question, and I brought it to 2 of the first pieces of lore that are in the playlist for lore of Fallout that I have to go back and do, and that was either on Marcus from Fallout New Vegas or Megaton from Fallout 3. If you want to hear any lore, and I mean any lore whatsoever from the Fallout series, be it any game, the one comic, the board games, the Magic the Gathering cards, anything whatsoever, check out the Patreon, because even at the $1 tier, your voice is heard. You become a part of the show when it is time to pick this week's lore. I ask a poll. This week's poll brought to you by the Ghoulman. This week's lore brought to you by the Ghoulman Entertainment Patreon. I bring to you Marcus, the super mutant from Fallout 2 and Fallout New Vegas. Now, Marcus, the super mutant, one of the Master's original mutants, one of the Master's shining examples of what a super mutant could be. If given enough time with you and Marcus in a room, I damn near guarantee he would convince you that the Unity was a good idea. Marcus is a firm, and I mean firm believer in the Unity, the Master's army, and it was the idea that the next evolutionary step of humanity, the correct step into the evolution of humanity, was to become super mutants, and humans, men and women, were forcibly dipped into vats of goo, vats of FEV in the Mariposa military base in California, with the hopes and the goal of turning them into these 7, 8, 9 foot behemoths, these just hulking mutant greenish men. Now, Marcus being a super mutant means that he was a human before he was a super mutant, right? And if he's a Master's mutant and the first game takes place in 2161, that means he was of an age, presumably 20s to 30s, let's just go with there, when he became a mutant. And if you ask him about what his life was before he was a human, he'll say, memories of being human aren't as clear as they once were, but I remember pettiness, hatred, jealousy. I prefer being a mutant, says Marcus. He's someone who saw the benefits. He actually got the benefits. As you know, if you play these games, not all super mutants were intelligent. Some of them were, and when they were intelligent, they were great. But when you got guys like Lieutenant, who's just like, you're not mutant, you get an idiot. You get someone like Fox, who very much is the embodiment of an East Coast mutant, but has a little bit of intelligence. You know, these are things that you get. Marcus's belief in the structure of the Unity was absolutely destroyed after the events of 2161 when the Vault Dweller blew up the cathedral. He hated humanity for a while because of it. He thought that, you know, his entire being was predicated on this. It was predicated on being part of the Unity. And like I said, and we're going to hear a little bit about it later, about how deeply he felt about it, but so deeply believed in it that he thought, like, humanity was doomed. Like, he thought he was the next level of human. After 2161, Marcus's life became one without purpose, and he began to wander, and eventually he met a man by the name of Jacob. And Jacob was a Brotherhood of Steel journeyman knight. Now, if you know fucking 3 things about Fallout, you'll know that the Brotherhood of Steel and the super mutants don't get along. The Brotherhood of Steel are a huge reason why the cathedral blows up in Fallout 1. So here is Marcus, looking at life. The Unity has failed. He is on a great expedition eastward. And everything around him is scary and new, but he's also 7-8 feet tall and probably weighs 900 pounds. And, could throw a Corvega for fun. But here comes another hulking man, but this one is metal. And he and this Brotherhood of Steel Knight, Jacob, get into a battle that lasts days. After fighting on and on and on for a couple of days, eventually exhausted, they both kind of just collapse and laugh. And they decide that they respect each other, and they decide that they are both formidable opponents, and they agree to start traveling together. And here you are with a super mutant and a Brotherhood of Steel Knight, and they've become best friends. During their travels, they would talk about the doctrine that the Brotherhood of Steel peddles. They would talk about what the Brotherhood believes and how it's pretty much a cult. Let's not mince words here. And how the Unity was a pseudo-religious belief. It was an army, it was a movement, and the similarities and the differences. And Marcus would still argue that the Unity was correct. There's even a line of dialogue, I don't have it written down here, but there was a line of dialogue where Marcus pretty much says, if the Master only chose the best of the best, the Unity would have succeeded. If all of the super mutants were like Marcus, he's implying, it would have been a success. He is essentially on the side of eugenics in favor of super mutants. Now, during their travels, people started to gather around them. They built a following, a cult following almost, and they started to talk amongst these people, and they realized that the safest people to be with, being around a super mutant and a Brotherhood of Steel Knight, is arguably the safest you can be in the waste, especially like a Fallout 1, Fallout 2 wasteland. It's the safest you can be. These giant metal men, these giant green men, you're good to go. And because they're in this rare predicament, this rare persuasion, they see it fit to start up a little town. Jacob and Marcus wind up founding Broken Hills, the uranium mining community that they found from some old world maps. And they founded Broken Hills in 2185. So I get all of my lore off of Fallout.fandom.com, the Nukipedia, if you will. And there's some quotes that I want to read directly from the games for you, from Marcus and maybe a couple other characters here and there. And the first one I'd like to start off with is something Marcus says to the Chosen One about being in Broken Hills. He says, guess they figured if they weren't safe with a Mutie and a Steel Knight, safe just wasn't gonna happen. The Chosen One will say, so you set up here? Why? Uranium mine, says Marcus. I knew that there was one from old maps. Now anybody's welcome here, long as you act right. Others might not think much of us, but nobody's more free than we are. There you go. Just some other things I'd like to add just to show how Marcus had changed as a person. The Chosen One can say, what about the Master's hatred for humans? And Marcus will say, you're talking a long time ago. The world's moved on. You want to hear ancient history? And the Chosen One can say, definitely. And Marcus will reply with, right. Well, never really hated humans. We just had a better way. These new governments, they think they have all the answers. Blah, blah. Been there, seen that, got the scars. And to the point where even Marcus kind of had respect for the Vault Dweller. And he says, the Chosen One says, sounds like you admired and hated the Vault Dweller at some time. Marcus will say, you're right. If all humans fought for what they believed in like that, we wouldn't have needed the Master's plan in the first place. The Chosen One will say, the Master wanted to enslave humanity. And Mark will say, don't forget, I knew the folks involved. They were the best humanity had to offer. Your people are going to tell the story a different way, right? The Chosen One can also say, I'm a descendant of the original Vault Dweller, you know. And Marcus will say, the original Vault Dweller? You mean the one who killed the Master and destroyed the vats? And the Chosen One will go, yes. And Marcus will reply with, not a problem. Like I said, that was a long time ago. There's something to be learned about Marcus, that there's almost like a Taoism, a Buddhist-ness to the way he's just like, yeah, let it go. whatever, what are you going to do? That's behind us. I believed in it then. You know, I still believe in it, but it's just not a viable option right now. And I don't think genocide is cool, but I like how he's like, all right, yeah, whatever. Jacob and Marcus started Broken Hills in the fall of 2185, and once they survived the winter, Jacob split, and the two of them never met again. Jacob went out into the big wild world, and that was the end of it, and Marcus was left with Broken Hills and some adventures ahead of him further. Once Jacob took off, Marcus became the sheriff and the mayor. The town thrived. Even Vault City was one of their clients for uranium, Vault City being an incredibly xenophobic nation, little settlement inside of NCR. They were using them. Eventually, Marcus once again saw humanity's flaws, the jealousy, the hatred, and the pettiness. And by 2241, an anti-mutant conspiracy was rearing its ugly head inside of Broken Hills. And this is around the time where he meets the Chosen One. And the Chosen One can help Marcus, and if he helps Marcus, he'll get rid of the conspiracy against him. And once this all goes through, the wiki puts it as he is too old to settle down. And he goes on an adventure with the Chosen One, and he has the option to help him blow up Control Station Enclave, the oil rig that's right off the coast of California. After the events of Fallout 2, though, the uranium mine had completely dried up, and Marcus said, there's no reason for me to go back to Broken Hills, and went on his way, heading east. Doing so, heading for the Rockies, he was inspired once again by his friend Jacob as he ventured forth. Now, there's a little spot in New Vegas that rips called Black Mountain. And Marcus originally discovers it, and because he's a charismatic guy, he's a smart guy, he knows what's up, he's strong, he can hold his own, he gets to Black Mountain with him and some other super mutants that are pretty much on his side. Black Mountain was a pre-war military comms array, and there was a radio tower there, and that's the thing that drew him in the most. It had lethal levels of radiation because of being nuked from the Great War, and it was a nice isolated place. Now, people don't like mutants. That's just a thing in the world. They're just not fond of mutants. So it was almost perfect for them because almost no one would come up there. By 2277, Marcus and his crew of super mutants had claimed Black Mountain as their own. And this is where Tabitha comes in play in Marcus's story. Tabitha is a Nightkin of the Master's army, and was very outspoken and had a small collective of other mutants who believed in what she was saying. She was a Nightkin that was addicted to Stealth Boys and had developed schizophrenic tendencies because of the Stealth Boy usage. Her pet, Mr. Handy, Rhonda, had died, and then she had discovered the radio station. And Marcus tried to get her under wraps and kind of help her out by giving her a journalism project, or a journaling project, and she just totally was not about it. She saw herself as some sort of a prophet, that she was the savior of all mutant kind, and she does usurp the power from Marcus of Black Mountain. Also, during this time, Raoul shows up and gets trapped. But sometime prior to 2281, Marcus had found Jacob's Town. After his time with Black Mountain, he came upon Mount Charles and an old abandoned ski lodge, and named the settlement after his old friend Jacob. It is now Jacob's Town. One of my favorite little settlements in all of Fallout, because you get to see snow, and you get to see intelligent mutants that are walking around and are doing stuff that isn't just, I'm smashing and pillaging and trying to create eugenics. The isolation and the big homes / doorways with the rich soil was perfect for the super mutants and the Nightkin to thrive and live comfortably. The only real threat that they actually did have were some Night Stalkers that were taking out their bighorners, which is a big supply of their meat, but other than that, everything was pretty much right as rain. You can help Marcus almost immediately by taking out a nest of Night Stalkers that are invading his camp. His goal was ultimately to develop a trade route with a human settlement and kind of get the ball rolling. I don't have this written down. I don't think it's super important in the grand scheme of Marcus, but when you get there, once you do a couple things for him and just kind of patrol around, the NCR will show up and be like, oh, we heard about this, we're gonna take them out, and you can kill them. Marcus doesn't want you to kill them because then they're just gonna send even more people, more NCR soldiers there to take them out. It's really interesting stuff. I wish there was a little bit more to it, but New Vegas was made in, the time it takes to have 2 babies. Sometime prior to the year 2281, Marcus had given Doc Henry, an old Enclave doctor, permission to stay at Jacobstown, as long as he used his medical expertise to help out with the Nightkin problem of schizophrenia. There's a quest you could do with this. It's a very good quest. I forgot to remember to forget quest. Very good quest. You get Lily Bowen as your companion out of it. There's some other Nightkin who want to stop it, but that's for you. We don't have a canon ending yet, so we'll see when it comes time for Season 2 of Fallout on Prime. Some fun facts for you. Again, all of my lore is off of fallout.fandom.com, the Wikipedia, if you will. Some notes that I like to get off of the wiki, just as a nice little way to end this. Marcus, Easy Pete, Follows Chalk, Saltupon, and Saltupon Wounds are the only people in the game who refer to Caesar as Kaiser, outside of the Legion. Marcus has a unique look to him, because they modeled him off of the Fallout 2 version of Marcus. He's one of the only super mutants that doesn't need a strap to keep his upper lip in check. It's also possible for him to spawn in New Vegas and him just get killed by the Cazadors that spawn not far by. So you could just show up and he's already gone. He's one of the most intelligent super mutants in the entire series, one of the smartest people in the entire series, and he's shown up in 2 games, which is more than some people can say. I hope you've enjoyed that, because that has been this week's lore on Marcus, the Super Mutant, from Fallout 2 and New Vegas. Hey everybody, welcome to segment 3, the 3rd segment of the program. Welcome, thanks for sticking around. What are you doing? I did something really cool the other day, something that I didn't think was a thing that totally is, and I just want to share it with you real quick, just a little documentation. If you've been following my escapades and you listened to the end of the year show, you probably have heard that Kyle and I got big into comics recently. Kyle's more of a Marvel guy, I think, and I'm more of a DC guy, I think. And I've been going to the local comic shop, and they just did issue 158 of Batman, which is like issue 920-something, Legacy. I don't know why they keep rebooting shit. They're actually rebooting Batman again this year, I'm like 85% sure of. Which, whatever, dumb and stupid, but fucking, what do I know? Anyway, one of the biggest storylines ever in Batman is a story called Hush. And I'm not going to spoil it, I'm not going to talk about it, but the original artist and writer of Hush are coming back to do Hush 2. So I've been reading these Batman comics. I'm actually reading 3. I'm reading Batman proper, I'm reading Detective Comics, and I'm reading Absolute Batman. Absolute Batman rips. Hush 2 is coming out. So I go to my comic shop and they're like, oh, we're going to do a Hush midnight release, and they release it at 6:08 the day before. And I asked, why 6:08? And the guy's like, because 6:08 was the first time the Hush saga started in the comics, and it was cool. And I went to a midnight release for a comic book, even though it was at 6 in the evening. And I love midnight releases, and I really thought that they were going to go the way of the dodo, and there I am picking up a 32-page comic book that I went home and read later that night. It was pretty good. I want to see where it goes. It definitely feels like the first Hush, which is a good thing. Just the way everything flows together. I also, because I got a ash can version, which I don't really know what that means, but it's like a little preview in black and white of the next book. So whatever, man. Just happy to be here. I thought it was cool. I wanted to share it with you guys. It's a fun time. I like that I like to read again. That's today's episode. If you like this show, check out the links below. The intro music is by the one and only Shane Ivers. Thank you to him. The song is called Feather Duster. It should be playing just about now. Check it out if you get a chance. All his free music, silvermansounds.com/free music, all his heaters, whatever, Feather Duster, my song. Links below to the Twitter, my Twitter, the show's Twitter, Kyle's Twitter, Redbubble, Discord. Check out Discord. Thank you again to the Patreon. Thank you to Willy DuWitt for being here tonight. Thank you, sir. I love you. And I love you at home as well. Thank you for being here. I will be seeing all of you soon. I'll be seeing you in about a week's time, honestly. I hope you guys are well. I hope you guys are staying strapped. I don't know. All right. Bye, everybody. Love you. See you next week. Be good to each other. I love you. Read a book. All right. Bye. See you. All right. Bye.
Atomic Radio Hour Podcast.
A Ghoulman Entertainment production.